Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Games and Things, April 4th through the 11th. That's tomorrow through next Monday. It is Games and Things' huge spring clearance sale. Everything, I mean everything in the store, in their huge showroom, is on sale. There's never been a better time to check out Games and Things than this coming week. Their spring sale is always a hit. See for yourself. I mean, what more can you say? Everything in the store is on sale. That's a pretty good sale. Games and Things, right at the corner of Lovell Road and Kingston Pike in West Knoxville. Okay, I want to talk quickly just which of Tennessee's programs, we'll rank them 1 through 5, is closest to an SEC title. I was going to say national title, but let's just start with the SEC. I think we know where we're going to go with number 1. But the reason I'm saying top 5, let me show you some TV ratings. Just the big 5 sports in terms of college athletics. These are the most recent championship finals, series, however you want to put it. It's for all the games average. So the college football playoff, we just had that. The average over 3 games was 18.7 million watching that. That was actually disappointing. That was a down year because they had the New Year's Eve games, so it hurt them a little bit. Only 18.7 million. Men's basketball Final Four. I went back to 2019 because that was the last one you had with the people in the stands and everything. So 9.4 million. Is what you had for that. Those are the 2 revenue sports. Then you have women's basketball Final Four, 1.5 million from 2019. Last year's Women's College World Series did more viewers, 1.2 million on average for all the games in that World Series, than the men's baseball College World Series. Didn't draw quite 1 million, but those are your top 5. You get outside of that, no offense to golf, no offense to tennis or track or anything else, but they don't get the TV ratings that these sports get, and you can see the difference there in terms of sport to sport. But let's rank those top 5 at Tennessee. Which is most Tennessee baseball, clearly. You're on path. It'd be a disappointment if you don't win the SEC this year. So, number 1, Tennessee, baseball. What's number 2? Which program is closest to an SEC title?
Men's basketball. We've already seen it in
Yeah.
tournament. I mean, that's pretty even I can get that right.
So we got baseball and you got men's basketball.
Right.
And then I think it gets interesting. So, what's closer to an SEC title? The women's basketball team, the women's softball team, the football team.
I'm going to go women's softball. They've been so good for so long, and if you get one great pitcher, it can have an incredible impact. Just look at what Monica Abbott did. And even though the SEC in softball, like in other sports, is terrific, I think softball would be next on my list.
It's amazing how good the SEC is in just about everything, and now you're going to add Oklahoma and Texas to it.
Money talks. I think some of it is defined, when you talk about football, you're talking about women's basketball. Some of it's defined by what you're chasing. When you have the standard in the sport, right now that's South Carolina women's basketball. Georgia, Alabama, that's a long way from where you're at. And I think that, you look at those next 2, that's tough, not because of anything you're doing on your campus, but because of what's happening everywhere else. The degree of difficulty is so high.
It just means more.
Yeah, to be the best team in the conference, you have to be the best team in the country.
Well, exactly.
So national title and SC title are kind of the same thing.
So does everybody agree that the softball ranks 3rd?
Yes.
3rd closest? Okay. So baseball, men's basketball, softball. What's next? Women's basketball? Simply because it's not quite as tough as football? Doesn't have to it doesn't have quite the rebuild that football had? Do we agree that it's women's basketball over football?
I think it is.
And it's easier. If you get one
One good
generational
dominant
player, that's ball game. You get one Asia Wilson, one Brittany Griner, one.
Well, you got to get her out of Russia, right?
Yeah, but Paige Becker, something like that. Azzy Fudd, those players, you can get one player and a pretty good team around them, and you got a shot. 2 players, you might just beat everybody by 30. So.
Go find you the 3 Meeks.
Yeah, exactly.
So the bad thing for Tennessee then is right now, and I do think that Tennessee is on the right trajectory. I don't know that Heupel and his system, I see him topping out at the Malzahn level. Malzahn ran a good program. I don't know how many championships you can win with this style of offense where you wear down your defense. Could be wrong. But they're on the right trajectory. But the problem is right now your 5th team out of those 5, and the one that most people care about, 18.7 million viewers watching that playoff, is the one that you're the furthest from. I don't know how much of that, you blame Tennessee for the past, you don't blame Heupel, but a lot of that, it's not really, it's hard to blame Tennessee for all of it, that Alabama's tearing it up, that LSU has been so good and just hired Brian Kelly, that Georgia is now dominant. I mean, part of it is just the league you're in.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, some of it comes back to recruiting. I think we've talked about the blue chip ratio on this show. Tennessee was pretty close in the late Pruitt era, and then they lost all those players, and then they were like very far. You need, quite honestly, probably top 5, top 10, probably 3 or 4 of those classes stacked on top of each other. NIL, whatever you want to say, however you got to get them, you got to get top 5, top 10 talent to even have a shot. And even when you have that talent, as Tennessee has shown in previous years, you still might not be that close. So it all starts in recruiting, and I think they understand that.
Or even quicker than that, I think you need Kirby Smart to go coach the Atlanta Falcons.
That wouldn't hurt. Yeah, that wouldn't hurt. Kirby's,
That'd be a quicker fix.
Saban to finally retire.
yeah, I don't think you're going to get either of those things, but that would help a lot.
You also need Florida to continue to kind of go in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen either, but
We'll
all
see.
those things would
The
help.
football conversation, by the way, is why there's a huge compliment again to baseball, because baseball's the same way. Baseball has all these programs that compete for
point.
national championships, and Tennessee might have been lower in baseball than football when Tony Vitello got here, just because they struggled to get into the SEC tournament. When 12
Right,
and 14,
yes.
they were really struggling to get in, and
But,
now,
Year after year. Yeah.
now we're talking about
And-
them maybe being the favorites to win the national championship 5 years in.
And right now, John, I think the University of Tennessee has the most entertaining baseball team in America. I do.
I'm with Chuck on this.
I do. I mean, that's a big statement.
I don't watch Stanford, so it's hard for me to say.
Well, I mean, you're ranked
but
number.
they-
You're ranked number
they're incredible.
one. You've got the best hitting team, and you've got great pitching. Tell me somebody that's more entertaining to watch.
I would also say this. Don't you feel that all 5 of those programs are kind of in the right direction, or at least you're either in a good position or going in the right direction? When's the last time you could say that at Tennessee that your top 5 sports are all either in a good spot or trending up? It has been a long time.
Yeah, it has been.
So that's
Early 2000s.
A lot of the
We're going to the
coaches
early
were
sports
hired
source
by
data.
different athletic
I was
directors.
about to say, and the interesting thing is, it's not like one AD fixed it. It's like everybody's had a little hand in it. We'll discuss that a little bit later. But next, I want to talk about the fact that Tennessee's big rivalry in baseball is with Vanderbilt right now, because Vanderbilt was the king, the bully on the block when Tennessee got good. I realize it's happenstance, but I think it's good for Tennessee to hate Vanderbilt again in something. We'll discuss hate and the benefits of it next. Come on back.